All right, everyone, here we are. Up next, tool-assisted speedrun showcase of the Sonic the Hedgehog on Master System. I'm here with 8bitBeast.
Hello.
Got Facecam, the man, the myth, the legend. We just heard his beautiful voice on the last stream, but now he's going to be hosting this one. Not hosting, but he's going to be showcasing his work here. What do we have here today?
So we're doing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System. A bit different than the Mega Drive Genesis version that most people will know, but it should be a good watch. All right.
All right.
Are you ready?
Whenever you're ready. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm not as fancy as TI Kevin, so I'm just playing back a recording of this TAS out of the emulator, but it should hopefully not be too risky. Alright, so as I said, this game's a little bit different than the Genesis version. The physics behave a little bit differently sometimes, there's totally different zones, and as you're about to see, it's totally busted. And there's level 1. So the levels are a lot shorter in this game. They tend to have just one path going through them, and the big glitch is when you're rolling in the air or down a hill, you can gain heaps and heaps of speed. We're going to see our first clip in this level. Now these clips actually don't save any time, but they stop a platform coming up from spawning. So that's this platform here, which lets us roll across and take a lot of speed into this ending. So yeah, those clips, no time save, just platform cycle manipulation. One thing about this TAS encode is I've cut out the score screens on it. The reason for that is the score screens are really long and it would take us about 20 minutes to get through this TAS if we watch them, but you're not really missing much with them. First boss fight there. The glitch that you saw me doing at the start, just a bit of play around, you can move really, really fast to the left in this game. The way you do it is you roll and then you press the other direction to cancel out of a roll. And it tries to decelerate Sonic, but it always applies that deceleration to the left to try and slow you down. So if you're moving left, it actually speeds you up. That's probably one of the biggest glitches in this game. We'll use it to skip an entire level coming up shortly. And then another glitch, which you can't really see at 30 frames per second, but you can break the speed cap just a tiny, tiny little bit by alternating between pressing right and not right every other frame. Now, this level has the biggest glitch in it, so I'll just show it for now. There it is. And during that glitch, yeah.
Away you go.
There you go. During that glitch, before I did it, I started rolling. So Sonic that whole time while he was in the air was rolling through the air. Now, that glitch is really, really complicated, and this was the mathy computer sciencey stuff that me and Kevin were talking about before. That's called a bank error glitch. Now, this game has a specific function in it that basically tells the game how to determine what type of tile something is. So, for example, if you hit a spring, that's a spring tile. If you hit a set of spikes, that's a spikes tile. Or if you have a falling bridge piece, that's another type of tile. And it's an error with that function. So the cartridge is broken up into these things called banks. I think there's 16 banks if I remember correctly. And it's pretty much just what part of the game ROM are you looking at, like what part of the cartridge. When this function runs to determine what type of tile you're standing on, it wants to be in a particular bank. But there's also this thing that happens in the game called an interrupt, and that has to do with drawing the screen. An interrupt happens every frame. If you cause a really particular amount of lag, what happens is the function which determines what tile you're trying to stand on happens at the same time as the interrupt. And the interrupt happens to swap the bank to a different bank. So the tile checking function changes the bank to what it wants. The interrupt changes it to something else. And then the interrupt never changes it back to what it was before. So basically it does the tile checking function with the wrong bank. And what that causes to happen is when I was rolling over like the falling bridge piece before, for some reason the game interpreted it as a spring going upwards. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And so you need to cause a particular amount of lag for the glitch to happen. If you're familiar with a frame, that's 1/60th of a second. This amount of lag is precise to about 1/10,000th of a frame. So yeah, it's a pretty precise trick. But people can do it in practice. Like, people have done it on accident. That's how he found the glitch. But it's not precise enough. People aren't precise enough to pull it off consistently to get results. So that's TAS only for now. I'm going to get a 6-2 on this boss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that side, and then 2 on the other side. You can get a 5-2 RTA, but you have to kind of guess what side Robotnik's going to come up on. And if you get it wrong, you die. But with a TAS, we know what side he's coming up on. 6-2. We also had Robotnik on the right-hand side, which made him leave the screen a bit sooner. Jungle Zone's going to have this big bounce roll. There's that common theme there of rolling in the air or down a slope to get heaps of speed. Now, you notice I stopped completely there. That was actually to lose the bubble. The bubble causes a lot of lag in this game, so we can't hold on to it for too long. But I needed the bubble because I bounced off the bubble shield box to get the roll started. Now, in this level, the camera only scrolls up when you're standing on flat ground. So we're going to be off camera for basically the whole level. You would think that this level's a lot faster as a TAS because I can do all this off screen, but it's actually not much faster than RTA. The reason for that is, no matter what you do, you still got to wait for the camera to scroll up anyway. So yeah, but it's an interesting level to watch in a TAS. I'm strategically stopping the camera at certain points of the level that aren't laggy, because if I happen to stop the camera where it's really laggy, then, you know, you're going to lose heaps of time. Yeah, Funyuns. So I've got a position watch, which tells me exactly where Sonic is in coordinates, and then I can kind of see what's happening in numbers without actually seeing what's happening visually. Apart from that, it's mainly just trial and error, and if I get really stuck while making the TAS, I'll stop, let the camera scroll up to see what's actually going on, and then I'll kind of go back and redo it without seeing what's happening there. But this level is definitely one of the more hard ones to TAS. Well, this level, the last level, the one with the waterfall. Alright, water optimization. I actually really like Labyrinth Zone, even though it's like the slowest level. But we're going to do lots of rolling off edges to get heaps of speed. The normal speed cap in water, you're seeing about now. That's like walking speed, and we're barely ever traveling at that speed. And do a little damage boost. If you're facing left, you get boosted right, so I turn left there. And we got a nice little zip upwards. That zip upwards has been known about for ages. This is the moving left glitch that I was talking about before. And we got another bank error glitch here to the left. So it was very hard to see there, but after I got hit by that thing, I zipped to the left. So I tricked the game into thinking the tile was a left-facing spring. Alright, biggest skip of the game coming up, Labyrinth 2. And there we go. Yeah. It's actually possible to do that level in 7 seconds, but there's kind of like a frame rule going on with the game, and it just so happened that I was up to the wrong frame rule with the game timer here, so it came off as 8. My last TAS was 7 seconds.
By the way, I don't want to take too much time. I noticed that sometimes you're doing a stutter step where you're not the animation isn't moving. It's not a frame rate thing, is it? Is it a?
Oh yeah, I'll explain that right after this. Bank error glitch
Okay.
again. So that was tricking the game into thinking it was a spring to the right, which got me heaps of speed. Anyway, that stutter step thing that's going on, there's a speed cap of, like, your velocity's capped at 300, but you can go a little bit over 300. But if you're over 300 and then you're holding right, it snaps you back to 300. So pretty much what you can do is you can get over 300, and then you let go of right for a frame, and then you press it again and let go and press it again.
Gotcha.
And that lets you maintain an average speed slightly over it, which we're seeing here. At 60 frames per second, it kind of looks like Sonic swapping between two animations really quickly, but I'm on Australian internet, so we only get it at 30.
Okay.
Yeah. One other thing I should mention about the signposts at the end of levels is if you hit the signpost, you're going really fast. They fly up into the air and take a really long time. So you'll see me like stopping before the signpost to a dead stop. And this level's a little bit of a maze here. I want 0 rings because I'm going to do a death warp later. And yeah, we're just going to do it kind of unintended. There's this set of doors in this level that you press a switch and it closes one door and opens another door. And you're intended to press that switch, then come all the way around the level. But where I come out of just there is a checkpoint. So I'm going to press the switch and then die. And rather than going through the whole level, I'm just going to come back out of where I was before. So yeah, that's used in RTA and it saves a pretty big chunk of time. Now the next level is pretty dull, so if we have any donations or anything, feel free to read those.
All right. I think I do. Yes, I do. All right. Anonymous donated $11 after years of playing Monopoly. There's finally a bank error in my favor.
Thanks, Anonymous.
Good work.
Yeah, so Scrap Brains... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Scrap Brain's the last level in Mega Drive, but we got one more level coming up, Skybase, which is a lot more interesting than Scrap Brain in my opinion. Scrap Brain is pretty dull, but it's pretty hard to TAS as well because of all those doors. We've got our very last bank error glitch coming up, which will be a spring to the right. You'll notice the game's going to be really laggy before I do it. That's very important. Which gives us enough speed to do this. We got my favorite damage boost coming up too. And yeah, that's Skybase 1. It's a pretty short level. Skybase 2 is an interesting one. There's two intended routes. You can go down or you can go up, but we're going to kind of go in the middle. Yeah, you're not supposed to get up here, but you can get up here really easily. People do it RTA as well. And coming up as the last boss, so he takes 12 hits, and you're supposed to kind of wait for the laser thing, but you can just get inside the glass and keep hitting him. Now, I'm going to get a hit on him just before this ball is about to hit me. So this thing here is extremely precise. If I hit him a frame later, I would have died there. So yeah. And that's the end of the TAS.
There you go.
So input ends when I jump into the thing. So I had to optimize like jumping and then letting go of right. But yeah, that's pretty much it with Sonic. This is the batting. There's also a category called Max Special Bonus, which gets all the emeralds and does all the special stages and gets all the extra lives and stuff. It's quite a bit longer and there's a TAS of that, but it's a bit old, so there's no bank error glitches in it.
Maybe it's time.
And I should be ready to move on to BK whenever you would like.
Sure. Is it as simple as opening up like a file or
Yeah.
like a video? Or okay. Let me double check and make sure it's cool with.
Yeah, I know there's
Okay,
usually a
cool.
bigger gap, so I'm happy to wait if you need me to.
Yeah, hang on one second.
So yeah, Sonic 1's pretty cool TAS game. The only thing that kind of lets it down is that big 2-minute auto-scroller. It was convenient for me because I could explain the bank error glitch there, but it's boring as heck, usually. That makes it a bit frustrating to run RTA as well. Good question, Ring Rush. I don't think Chaos Emerald is bank errorable. There's actually, though, there's an object in the game that can actually end the game. So that portal that I jumped into at the very end, that's possible to get with a bank error glitch. I think if you hit it in a normal level, though, it just ends the level. But it ends the level and skips all the score screens, so you would save heaps of time if you could get it. Unfortunately, the coordinates don't line up right. You have to hit the coordinates of where the portal actually is, so you can't actually bank error that end game portal. But yeah, potential game end glitch for that.
Okay. I think we're ready to start.